Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today I want to talk about the new Gaia structure deck that came out just now at midnight. um, this deck has basically everything that you need for free. Everyone's getting a copy of this deck for free. And there are a lot of really powerful cards in this deck. It's coming at 3 copies for basically everything that you want. So I just want to go over kind of what's in the deck and what you can do with it. I understand that there's support for this deck in the new Rush box, but I'm going to be talking mainly about what you can do with the deck without buying any new cards. So first up, we have the skill. The skill is called Chivalrous Celerity. Can be activated if all the monsters with 1600 or more attack in your deck are monsters with 2300 attack and 2100 defense and or level 5 or lower dragon type normal monsters. Okay, so basically Gaia and Curse of Dragon. Send one normal monster from your deck to the graveyard. That's really good. So you get to mill your Curse of Dragon basically every turn. Then make one level 5 or higher monster on your field, gain 600 attack points until the end of the turn. Then you can add one normal monster and or one polymerization from your deck and or graveyard to your hand once per duel. So so every turn you get 600 attack points. You get to mill Curse of Dragon, which means that you can easily fusion summon with the new fusion monster. And then once you can add a normal monster, which will either be Gaia the Fierce Knight or Curse of Dragon, and polymerization from your deck to your hand, so that you can immediately fusion summon from your hand, which is really good. For those of you that don't know how polymerization works, it's a new card. Fusion summon by sending monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard as material. So for a deck like Gaia the Fierce Knight, where one of the monsters is level 7 and the other monster is level 5, fusion is really bad. It's not very good because you don't really want to tribute 3 monsters to get 1 monster on the field. So polymerization fusing from the hand means that you don't have to tribute 2 monsters for your Gaia. It means you don't have to tribute 1 monster for your Cursed Dragon. It's very good. The new ultra rare monster, which we get 3 copies of for free, is Battle Tested Gaia the Fierce Knight. It's a level 7 wind warrior monster with 2300 attack points and 2100 defense points. It says you contribute summon this card in attack position by attributing 1 face-up level 5 or higher monster. So you contribute your Curse of Dragon and summon this card by itself. Pretty nice. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This turn, this card's name becomes Gaia the Fierce Knight. Then you can fusion summon by shuffling this card from your field and 1 monster from your field or graveyard into the deck as materials. So you use the skill. You send your Curse of Dragon from the deck to the graveyard. You activate Battle Tested Gaia the Fierce Knight's effect. You fusion summon. And you summon any one of your 3 fusion monsters, which you got for free from the deck. Excellent. This card's amazing. So play it at 3. Next up, we got 1 copy of Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight. If this is the only card in your hand, you can normal summon it without tributing. Cool. That's fantastic. It's 2300 attack points, 2100 defense points. The fact that the skill basically raises the attack points of your regular Gaia monsters to 2900 so they can fight anything that's not a fusion monster. And then it raises your fusion monsters to 3200 so they can kill things like Dragiastar is very helpful. Now we're not playing Fusion, but we are playing Change Slime Dragon Champion mode. This is a level 4 Aqua monster. It requires you to shuffle 1 non-fusion monster from your graveyard back into the deck, and then fusion summon by sending 1 level 7 Warrior monster, 1 level 5 Dragon monster from your hand or field to the graveyard as materials. So as long as you have any monster in your graveyard to shuffle back, Change Slime is just another copy of Polymerization that you have to normal summon. Really, really powerful card. So we can basically play 4 polymerizations. Yeah, that's really good. The deck also contains Rising Light Angel Acel. This is probably one of the cards that you want to replace. It's a level 4 fairy monster. During the turn you have not special summoned a monster, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then if you activate this effect during the first turn of the player going second, you can special summon 1 monster from either player's graveyard face up on your field. So Acel allows you to special summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard, specifically if you are going second and you happen to have Acel in your opening hand on your first turn. Otherwise, it's just mill 2 cards. I mean, milling 2 cards is not the worst thing in the world for this deck, and you do need monsters to tribute for your Curse of Dragon and your other card. But I feel like there are probably better options, even with the restrictions for this skill in the game, than this. Still, 3 free cards. Not gonna look this card in the mouth. It's better than other cards we could have gotten. And it does have clear synergy with the deck. Like if you mill Gaia the Fierce Knight and then you special summon it, then that's pretty useful to you. The deck had 1 copy of Gaia the Fierce Knight. I feel like 2 is probably needed because you do want Gaia in your hand for your Change Slime Dragon Champion mode. So obviously you can get Gaia from the card trader. So yeah, 2 copies of Gaia the Fierce Knight I feel like is a sweet spot. Then 3 copies of Curse of Dragon. The structure deck gives you 3 copies of Curse of Dragon. Obviously I already had 3 prismatic ones from when it was in the card trader, so I'm using those. Again, just free cards. Really nice. Then they gave us 3 copies of Masakai the Legendary Samurai and 3 copies of Faithbird. You might say, why are we getting a random Wing Beast in this deck? Well, that's because they're giving us Avian Spell Tactics at 3. I did not have this card at all, so the fact that they're just giving us this card is amazing. If you have 2 or more face-up warrior and winged beast type monsters on your field, destroy 1 spell or trap on your opponent's field, then you can place 1 level 8 or lower warrior or winged beast monster from your graveyard on top of your deck. Awesome. That's really good. So yeah, great card. And I think it will see a lot of play, of course. Then they also gave us 3 copies of Music Princess's Recital. When your opponent's level 8 or lower monster declares attack while you only have 1 monster on the field, negate the attack. Now, obviously, this doesn't work on any of the level 9 fusion monsters, which makes it a little bit bad in this meta, but it's still a really good card, and the fact that you just get it for free, like 3 copies of it, is just nothing to smoke at. So, yeah, I think that's a really awesome buff to the deck. The last card that they give is in the box is Archfiend Summoning Flute, which is you can send this card to your graveyard and special summon 1 normal monster from your graveyard to your field in defense position. That does have synergy with the skill, and it is kind of useful to get your Gaia or your Curse of Dragon back on your field. But I don't feel like you're gonna actually play this card in the deck, so I cut it for Gaia, Negate Attack, and Buffered Slime, which I feel like was right. For the extra deck, we got 1 copy of Gaia, Conqueror of Champions. Well, guess what? They're limiting it to 1, so we only need 1. It's a Magical Knight, fusion of Gaia the Fierce Knight and Curse of Dragon, 2600 attack, 2100 defense, wind. During your main phase that you special summon this card, shuffle 1 monster from your graveyard into the deck except for a Magical Knight monster. This turn, this card can attack directly, and you can destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. So either you get to pop one of your opponent's spells or traps, or you can make Gaia the Conqueror of Champions attack directly. And remember, the skill gives it 600 attack points, so that's 3,200 attack points to your opponent's face. That will win games, absolutely. That's absolutely crazy. So this is a good card, and it will be one of the best cards in the deck, for sure. It's important to note that even though your fusion monsters are all level 7 or lower, Swift Gaia the Dragon Champion and Gaia the Dragon Champion are both dragon monsters, and Gaia the Conqueror of Champions is a magical knight, so you can't put any of them back in the extra deck with Avian Spell Tactics. Swift Gaia the Dragon Champion, we got this for 3 copies of this in the structure deck for free. It's a Dark Dragon Fusion monster, 2600 attack, 2100 defense. Requires a warrior monster with 2100 defense points and Curse of Dragon. So this is the only card that you can fuse Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight into, because it's just not called Gaia the Fierce Knight. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This turn, this card affects piercing damage, and if you have 0 cards in your hand, you can also draw 1 card. That's fantastic. Yeah, great card. Then lastly, Gaia the Dragon Champion. I think the structure deck gave us 3 copies of this card as well. Or no, it gave us 2. That's right. It's a fusion of Gaia the Fierce Knight and Curse of Dragon, 2600 attack, 2100 defense. So you might think this isn't that great, but the thing is, the new support card, which I don't have it, and I wasn't going to showcase it, but I will point out what Gaia the Dragon Champion is for. The new support card that's in the box, Monster Calling. Send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw one card, then you can special summon one non-effect monster with 2,000 attack or 2,100 defense from your graveyard to your field. So if you make Gaia the Dragon Champion and it dies, Monster Calling can revive it because it's not an effect monster and it has 2,100 defense points. That's actually really good synergy. So, assuming that you play Monster Calling at 3, Gaia the Dragon Champion is going to give you a lot of staying power. So, yeah, this is a great card, and that is going to be a dangerous deck. Now, the skill is a little bit hard to parse just hearing about it, so let's take a look at a replay. Okay, we are going first against Cyber Dragons. We're going to start things off by tributing our change mode to summon the Cursed Dragon. Then we can mill the top card of our deck with tributing for Battle Tested and fuse into the regular Gaia. Then we pass. It's our opponent's turn. They're going to activate Pot of Greed, draw 2. Then they summon 3 Cyber Dragons and set 1 and pass. The opponent is clearly confident that we are not going to be able to hurt them because of their face down card. Well, unfortunately for them, we don't care about face down cards. So we draw 4 and we're going to use our skill. We mill Gaia the Fierce Knight from our deck to raise Gaia the Dragon Champion's attack points by 600. Then we can add Gaia the Fierce Knight from our graveyard to our hand, along with drawing Polymerization. Now we activate Polymerization, we fuse Gaia and Cursed Dragon from our hand into our Gaia Conqueror of Champions, activate its effect, return 1, pop the face down. It's negate attack, so negate attack is completely removed. And we attack, we knock our opponent down to 2,400, and they pass and they surrender. They were not able to build any sort of board against us. They were worried about our back row. We had the ability to remove their back row, and we were able to easily overpower them, even if they summoned Cyber Twin Dragon. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.